Nasul will come in here is some questions seem to be so simplistic and they may not meet the actual needs of Uganda, of the Uganda as a country. Because
and maybe if we get time later, we could single out those interventions and also the proper outcomes, which you need to be. Actually, it is an issue of popularizing them because you already have them. I might not go into the detail, but the issue of mainstreaming, it is already clearly identified by UNAP2. And once it is completely validated and approved, then each sector will have its responsible actions already provided for. Each ministry that is here has their own share.
Now it's a question of timing. When are we going to receive? Are we going to wait for the plan to be approved for us to get these things? Because you have written to us saying we need to mainstream.
okay,
the process of developing the UNAP started in 2017. And we have a sector focal person of Ministry of Gender who has actually been the contributor of all the items that we have in the UNAP. Actually, what we have in the UNAP are your activities. We have not generated them from nowhere. I think the letter was to emphasize that you don't leave out those particular actions that have been proposed and identified by your sector in the UNAP too. It is a process. So it is the sector focal person and the sector committee which really should go inside and make sure that all these things are captured.
I have a comment regarding the discussion that you brought about impact evaluation. I know, all the sectors are very much interested into having the impact evaluation of some of the interventions. But I just want to bring some cautionary note from NIPN perspective, because, impact evaluation is assessing the changes which can be attributed to particular intervention that we are interested in. Now, when we are talking about NIPN is all about using existing data, secondary data. To have an impact evaluation, there is a certain design, a study design that, that project is supposed to, have in place. Let's say sometimes the impact evaluation done through experimental design, sometimes quasi-experimental, sometimes even non-experimental. But then, through that design, that project is supposed to collect data and then assess the changes. Because, impact evaluation is done generally comparing two groups. One group is supposed to get intervention and one is or before or after. All those designs are not, if we haven't, kept in place and we have collected data just as a cross-sectional survey, and then we are talking about impact evaluation, then from a statistical perspective, you might have to do some kind of modeling, which maybe Nasul would explain. But here, when we are talking about, we might consider those questions, we have to be clear what we are trying to, have, or what we are trying to answer through those questions. Because, it's not that easy to come up with the impact.
Okay, the last one from Nasul.
Yeah, thank you. I would want to make it short, but I want the attention of both Charles and Mr. Katamba. I think they have made another sub-meeting. Charles, I am here, this way. Okay, so, but I think from what Mr. Katamba raised, and I think we need to keep really focused on certain things that we are doing. I think his question is much more to do with how can NIPN help us, okay? Identify, and this is very important, identify the key indicators, the key things to touch to make things move. Did I get that question right? And here, I think where we are in this position of NIPN, that's exactly what we are supposed to do.
The committee would sit with the technical teams, from NIPN, and be able to streamline those questions to make them acceptable, and those questions which can be easily answered with the available data and also the technical capacity within the NIPN unit. When you look at some of these examples, for example, are nutrition interventions reaching their targets? It might be a good question, but a bit simplistic. And it has to be taken to another level for the programmers, the nutrition programming team, to be able to do something bigger out of that type of data. So we are saying for us, we may have to do much more depending on the needs that have been expressed. Do you have any question? I wanted to highlight that element, that not all questions can be answered. Questions on causality, impact, and cost efficiency might be difficult, but in event that's what Uganda sectors needs, what do we need to do? That one we have to sit and see how we deal with that, or what support can be given to sectors to deal with that. In terms of capacity, we can still discuss that. But this was to clarify the type of questions in NIPN as how it was set, that it could answer immediately. Any question before I hand over to Nasul?